In a distant epoch, when an enigmatic tower erupted from the earth, it heralded the twilight of mankind. Awakening latent supernatural gifts within themselves, humanity united to battle the fiends that descended from this towering monstrosity. As generations drifted by, valiant heroes fell, paving the way for a new breed of champions. Among them emerged a singular hero, endowed with unparalleled talent, sagacity, and a stroke of serendipity. This extraordinary individual ascended to the ultimate level of the tower, embodying the pinnacle of humanity's hope to vanquish all malevolence. They dubbed him the beacon of mankind, and his name resounded as Ling Zio. Ling Zio and his intrepid squad breached the majestic hall at the apex of the tower, convinced that this marked his third reincarnation. Yet, this time, he had meticulously augmented his attributes and skills to their zenith. A system interface unfurled before him, revealing that he had acquired the most formidable weapons and armors known to their realm. The system indicated that conquering the final floor of the demonic tower would signify an end to their tribulations. His progress thus far had been facilitated by the guidance and assistance of the system over countless years. However, an unsettling anomaly plagued him. No information about the creatures lurking on this uppermost level materialized. Even the system remained reticent. Behind him, a bespectacled ally murmured in bemusement, his gaze adrift in the ether. Another comrade chuckled, speculating that the distracted one was preoccupied with romantic thoughts. Ling Zio dismissed their banter, revealing instead that he was contemplating what lay ahead following the demise of the Demon King. The skeptical comrade retorted, dismissing Ling Zio's thoughts as mere pretexts, a hallmark of their revered yet enigmatic leader. Ling Zio silently exhaled, cognizant that every encounter with the system interface stirred such musings. He alone bore the unique capability to perceive it, leaving him no recourse but to fabricate some outlandish excuse. Traversing a prolonged corridor adorned with luminescent azure crystals, a squad member gasped in awe at the hall's resplendence. Ling Zio's comrades echoed his sentiments, while one inquired if this truly was the final floor of the infernal tower. The shield-bearer noted the eerie emptiness, questioning the absence of the Demon King's presence. The archer concurred, confessing he could scarcely envision what such a foe might resemble. The mage, pointing ahead, remarked on the stark contrast between this space and the foreboding, sanguinary ambience of the lower levels, exclaiming its brightness and opulence. Ling Zio nodded in agreement, articulating that angels oft inspire dread as they seek to deter demons, while demons themselves possess an alluring beauty, designed to lull their adversaries into complacency. With a genial smile, he reminded his squad to maintain their vigilance, despite the hall's captivating allure. They assented, pledging to exercise utmost caution. Ling Zio reflected that this was the farthest he had ventured in any of his previous reincarnations, leaving him devoid of any intelligence regarding this floor. A squad member jovially credited their ascent to the Elder's endeavors, while another lauded Ling Zio's prowess in vanquishing lower-level demons with an intimate understanding of their strengths and weaknesses. Encouraged, the archer proclaimed that they stood on the precipice of victory, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. Suddenly, a girl dashed toward Ling Zio, exclaiming her belief in their assured triumph. He reciprocated her enthusiasm, asserting they should commence their mission. Before he could utter another word, a fountain of crimson erupted before him. In abject horror, he beheld the girl, her head severed from her body by an unseen force, her lifeless eyes still fixed upon him. Blood gushed from her neck, splattering the ground as her body convulsed and then succumbed with a thud. In a heartbeat, the remaining squad members met their grim fates, collapsing like marionettes severed from their strings. Ling Zio, paralyzed by shock, found himself frozen in place. Heavy footsteps echoed ominously behind him, accompanied by the clattering of armor. The demon approached, a sinister smile etched upon its visage, drawing nearer to the dazed Ling Zio, now the sole survivor. The demon greeted him, its red eye piercing through the despair enveloping Ling Zio. Startled, he spun around, brandishing his sword, demanding to know its identity. A demon? He could scarcely anticipate its arrival. With a swift, decisive motion, he struck, producing a deafening clang, yet the demon halted his assault with but a single finger. Its eyes twinkled with amusement as it remarked on the quality of his sword, lamenting that it was regrettably too fragile. Ling Zio's heart raced as he gazed at the shattered remnants of his blade strewn across the floor. Had he truly been bested so easily? The thought sent a jolt of disbelief through him. Was this the best weapon in existence, reduced to mere scrap by a finger? Before he could fully process his predicament, the demon appeared behind him, tauntingly inquiring where his gaze had wandered. Ling Zio turned, but silence fell as he witnessed a torrent of demonic energy surging towards him, a slender, formidable stream. In a single fluid motion, the demon propelled Ling Zio backward with such force that he crashed into the wall, which splintered under the impact. He slid down, a trail of blood marking his descent. Dazed and unable to rise through gritted teeth, he managed to choke out a question: was this being truly the Demon King? As he gazed upon the demon, arms crossed, a devilish grin sprawled across its face, he grappled with disbelief at the sight of a demon in human form. The Demon King proclaimed itself the embodiment of humanity's darkest fears, burst from the shadows of their own nature. Ling Zio, desperate for clarity, activated the Eye of Truth, hoping to unveil the demon's power. A system window materialized above the Demon King, revealing alarming health and mana metrics. A wave of dread washed over Ling Zio as he observed his own health indicators unchanged, even after striking with all his might, yielding no damage. This was unfathomable. The Demon King continued to smirk, and Ling Zio noticed a minuscule graph indicating a passive skill, adorned with an infinity symbol next to the mana scale. Unlimited vitality, he mused inwardly, realization dawning upon him: perpetual, unyielding health. What about its mana? Did that infinity symbol signify infinite mana? Was this creature invincible? In disbelief, he uttered the word aloud just as the Demon King loomed above him, casting a colossal shadow, a visage of impending doom. Alarms blared from the system, warning of imminent peril, extreme danger detected. Inequality too great. Chance of victory, 0.1%. The system calculated his best escape route. Fear gripped Ling Zio as he recognized that for the first time, the system had issued such urgent warnings. His prospects of survival appeared bleak. In a desperate attempt to regain composure, he sought to gather his thoughts. But then, he noticed the Demon King extending its hand towards him, seizing one of the system windows with a menacing grin. With a mere clench of its fingers, it shattered the window into a flurry of fragments. Ling Zio, breath held in astonishment, fixated on the demon in disbelief. The Demon King examined its palm, pondering the remnants of what it deemed mere rubbish, suggesting that Ling Zio had been misled by something he could no longer comprehend. With a disdainful glance, the demon declared that it would no longer permit such trivialities to persist. Ling Zio, driven to fury, demanded to know what the demon had wrought upon his system. Interrupting him, the Demon King pointed a finger in his direction, asserting that though it could not perceive the system, it did not hinder its ability to obliterate it. After all, it was invincible. With that, the Demon King raised its hand, extending an index finger towards Ling Zio's head, channeling ominous energy. Ling Zio, paralyzed by despair, realized he was on the brink of death. This was not his first encounter with mortality, but the dread that enveloped him now was unparalleled. The prospect of facing the Demon King left him feeling utterly impotent. Yet, he refused to succumb to despair. Even in death, he would strive to persevere. Humanity's spirit must endure. Suddenly, his body radiated with a verdant glow, an extraordinary surge of healing energy flooding through him, unbeknownst to him. He marveled at this sensation. Was he being healed? Why would the Demon King offer him such mercy? As warmth enveloped his palm, he felt an overwhelming influx of restorative power coursing through him, as boundless as the ocean itself. Before he knew it, he found himself levitating, drawn closer to the demon by its effortless gesture, the treatment continuing unabated. Ling Xo regarded him with an expressionless countenance and inquired about the rationale behind his healing. The Demon King, with a piercing gaze, posited that Ling Zi was indeed a regressor. Those words struck Ling Zi like a thunderclap, leaving him breathless and engulfed in anxiety. The Demon King continued, observing the way Ling Zi battled the demons on the lower floors, alongside his skills and flaws, ultimately leading him to deduce that Ling Zi possessed the gift of foresight. Yet, if this were indeed the case, one would expect Ling Zi to be less astonished upon their encounter. All that filled the Demon King's mind was the notion of regression, not merely one, but potentially 2 or 3 lifetimes. Should he eliminate Ling Zi now, the latter would merely reset and devise a new strategy, thus perpetuating this ceaseless cycle. But inevitably, the Demon King mused, he would find a way to extinguish Ling Zi's existence. Casting a glance at Ling Zi's countenance, the Demon King chuckled, discerning that he had struck a chord of realization. He laughed, expressing his exhilaration, snapping his fingers to reassure Ling Zi that he need not fear death.
A bionic surge of energy enveloped Ling Zi, while the Demon King proclaimed that he now donned the finest armor obtainable in this realm, impervious to any but the Demon King himself. It was commendable, he noted, for one who had reincarnated thrice to acquire such formidable artifacts. Ling Zi swirled amidst this torrent of energy, the veins in his visage bulged, his eyes radiating crimson. A question flitted through his mind: why? The Demon King, unfazed, declared that his abilities would constantly rejuvenate Ling Zi, ensuring he never met his end, while his armor would transform into a prison, shackling him eternally without the prospect of life or death. As the Demon King's proclamation echoed, Ling Zi's skin became parched, the armor began to liquefy, and he grappled with the tormenting query of why the Demon King remained reticent. In that maelstrom of demonic energy, Ling Zi's form commenced a metamorphosis. Golden adornments sprouted upon his head, his arms morphed into opulent armrests, culminating in the grand transformation into a magnificent throne that loomed at the hall's terminus. The Demon King approached with a smirk, collapsing into the plush embrace of the throne, resting his hands upon the armrests, closing his eyes in sheer delight at his newfound seat. With a casual gesture, he waved toward the lifeless bodies of his fallen adversaries at the hall's center, which began to shimmer and transform beneath a resplendent coating of azure crystals, their former identities obscured only by the blood staining the hall's tiles. In essence, the protagonist is often perceived as one cloaked in the protective embrace of plot armor. Yet, every individual, at least once in their existence, has envisioned themselves as the central figure in a grand narrative. This raises the inquiry: who truly embodies the protagonist? Prophets may falter in providing clarity, but historians hold the key to this conundrum. The one who secures ultimate victory reigns as the true protagonist, which naturally provokes contemplation. Why? The answer lies with the Demon King, the apex adversary. Following the demise of Ling Zi's squad, tidings of their downfall reverberated throughout the nation. News anchors, with heavy hearts, conveyed the sorrowful news that the hero Ling Zi and his comrades had perished in battle, mere steps from monumental triumph. Citizens froze in their tracks, tears brimming in their eyes, as they beheld the glaring headlines proclaiming the hero's demise. The Awakened Association extended its deepest condolences while urging the populace to retain hope, calling upon those capable of combat to rise against the tower and thwart the impending onslaught of demonic forces. In the wake of numerous victories, the people remained steadfast in their belief in eventual triumph, yet the timeline for such resolution remained shrouded in uncertainty. Meanwhile, other awakened individuals traversed the city streets, where a young woman approached the armored figure known as King Fan, questioning whether they stood before an S-rank secret dungeon. Both cast their eyes upon the ravaged structure cordoned off with yellow tape. Dungeons serve as the nexus between the demonic tower and human settlements, manifesting unpredictably throughout the urban landscape, unleashing demonic entities upon the world. The Awakened Association's mandate entails the exploration of these dungeons, with members primarily engaged in purging them, scavenging for rare artifacts, and ensuring safety within and beyond. Two awakened warriors advanced toward a cerulean portal nestled near a dilapidated edifice, stepping through it to find themselves ensconced within an S-rank dungeon. Lightning crackled across the heavens, floating islands hovered ominously, and a fierce wind howled. The girl sought assurance from King Fan regarding the presence of the Bloody Thorn and whether they could indeed vanquish the Demon King utilizing this artifact. The Bloody Thorn, governed by a set of rules, dictated that each strike inflicts no less than a single unit of damage. King Fan, exuding conviction, assured her that justice would ultimately prevail over malevolence. Emboldened by her unwavering faith in him, she expressed admiration, acknowledging his potential to surpass Ling Zi with a few more years of training. As they advanced, their path abruptly halted upon encountering a colossal, lifeless monstrosity sprawled in a pool of its own blood, with the Demon King seated upon its back, unbeknownst to the awakened pair. They were taken aback, questioning if anyone else lingered in this domain, genuinely incredulous about the Demon King's acquisition of the Bloody Thorn. The Demon King, with a knowing smile, acknowledged their astuteness, revealing his foresight in coming here to compel these insignificant beings to yield the coveted artifact. King Fan extended his hand, conceding the Demon King's prowess and requesting the thorn, to which the Demon King responded with a bemused sigh, questioning how one could attempt to rob a being of such caliber without even knowing his identity. King Fan retorted that his intentions were noble, aimed at humanity's salvation, thus challenging the notion of robbery. He asserted that such a potent relic would be far more advantageous in his grasp than in the Demon King's. Growing impatient, King Fan reiterated that this was all in pursuit of defeating the Demon King, all for the sake of justice. In response, the Demon King activated his power over the bloody thorn, unleashing crimson streams that surged forth. King Fan, astonished, barely managed to conjure an absolute protection barrier, a magical safeguard created from a crystal circle. This artifact formed an impenetrable shield within a 2-meter radius, capable of safeguarding one individual against any assault. King Fan gritted his teeth, grappling with the realization of the Demon King's formidable power. Was this arcane might truly human? The Demon King's eyes narrowed as he seized Chunin by the neck, gesturing toward King Fan, inquiring if he was indeed the successor of Ling Zi. Chunin, in the Demon King's grip, reached for his hands, and the Demon King proposed that King Fan would only release her if he dismantled his protective barrier. He offered his word, yet if King Fan remained skeptical, the latter remained resolute, unwilling to heed the Demon King's counsel any longer. Clenching his fist, he promised Chunin that she would not perish in vain. He would erect a memorial in her honor. With those words, he dispelled the barrier and lunged toward the Demon King, who nimbly evaded, pulling Chunin along as he mocked King Fan's hesitation to forsake his ally. This revealed a profound misunderstanding of human nature on the Demon King's part. King Fan, pointing at the Demon King, proclaimed that the most formidable heroes have always stood alone, with victims inevitably trailing in their wake. The Demon King, landing nearby with Chunin still in tow, relaxed his grip, allowing her to turn toward King Fan, tears welling in her eyes, imploring him about his uncanny composure. Having followed him for years, she believed that such fortitude was intrinsic to him. Her sorrow deepened as she urged him to abandon any thoughts of her and flee, advising him to utilize the magic cube to escape. In a surprising twist, King Fan drew his sword, declaring himself blessed by divine providence, humanity's new beacon of hope. He refused to retreat easily, adopting a fighting stance, proclaiming that justice would invariably triumph over evil, for only individuals of his caliber possess the unwavering resolve to prevail against all odds, for the sake of humanity, for the future, and for the entire world. Suddenly, he fell silent, leaving Chunin frozen, her gaze fixed upon him in shock. In a moment of unexpected mirth, the Demon King, who had been taciturn until now, erupted into raucous laughter. He shielded his eyes with his hand, gesturing towards the flickering ember of hope that humanity clung to, inquiring with a smirk if this individual intended to flee. Well then, he mused, let him not take offense. As his words hung in the air, dark energies coiled around Bing Fan, conjuring a tempest that whirled stones and debris in a chaotic dance. Abruptly, the ground beneath Bing Fan shattered, and he plummeted into an abyss, disbelief washing over him like a cold wave. What is happening? How can this be? Is this truly the end? He pondered, his mind racing. The Demon King approached the gaping maw of the chasm, casually gesturing as if beckoning Bing Fan to quench his thirst in the lower river, insinuating that a knight of his caliber should have long embraced the notion of self-sacrifice. Surely, he thought, he envisions his demise as noble. As Bing Fan descended in a spiraling descent, an overwhelming dread took root within him. He realized with growing despair that he did not wish to perish. He could not succumb here, could not become a mere statistic of fate. In a moment of desperation, he began to beseech the Demon King for mercy and salvation. Meanwhile, the Demon King distanced himself from the abyss, and suddenly, a cacophony erupted. A roar split the heavens, accompanied by blinding lightning and a thunderous rumble that reverberated through the land. The Demon King, unfazed, made his way towards an exit, while Chunin, rooted in shock, whispered of Bing Fan's apparent demise, certain that she too would soon follow. Yet, as fate would have it, she turned, tears brimming in her eyes, only to find the Demon King striding toward a portal. Is he departing? Is he truly letting me go? She questioned. The Demon King ascended the steps leading to yet another gateway to the realm of humans, casting a glance over his shoulder, assuring her that he would indeed honor his promise to release her if she dispelled his cube. He cautioned that it was a pity he could not remain in that realm, bidding her farewell with a chilling promise of future vengeance. Stupefied, Chunin grappled with disbelief. He was truly allowing her freedom. The Demon King reached the pinnacle, stepping forth from the dungeon, transforming before the eyes of the world. His garb morphed into something ordinary, his horns vanished, he was stripped of his demonic identity, blending seamlessly into the throng of nocturnal city dwellers. Time drifted onward, and he found himself at the doorstep of the Awakened Association. The receptionist, a hint of color rising to her cheeks, inquired if he was indeed resolute about joining their ranks. Suddenly, another attendant pushed her aside, her gaze ablaze with intrigue. So intriguing! With the recent surge of monsters infiltrating our city, We warmly welcome all awakened souls willing to unite against the encroaching darkness, especially striking individuals like yourself. What's your name, and what abilities do you possess? I'd be delighted to assist you with registration. Bing Fan, donning a genial smile, replied, I am that genius, Bing Fan. Surely, you've heard of me? I am eager to join the ranks of the awakened. His last words resonated with an air of significance, though none gave them much thought. Within the hallowed halls of the association, a meeting of the 7 elders unfolded. Seated in a semicircle, only 6 chairs were occupied, the absence of one elder palpable. An elder lamented the loss of Lingo, a being capable of regression, who had met his demise against the Demon Tower. A man at the foot of the assembly addressed them, asserting that as long as the Demon King remained within the tower, he would continue to receive blessings of immortality and boundless mana. They could no longer tolerate the sacrifice of their heroes. A new strategy was imperative. He urged them to cease their reckless incursions into the tower, redirecting efforts towards discovering artifacts capable of sealing the demonic stronghold. Their goal was clear: confine the Demon King and the other malevolent entities within, ensuring the dungeons would no longer plague their cities, thus safeguarding their populace. One elder interjected, mentioning that she had summoned a chosen one from a parallel realm, henceforth to be referred to as a traveler from Earth. The assembly listened intently, though the man expressed surprise. She smiled, emphasizing the importance of secrecy regarding their discussions, for even he was unaware of the true purpose behind this summoning. Travelers, after all, had a penchant for saving worlds, hadn't they? She crossed her legs, asserting that this individual's essence now resided in the body of Ling Zi's younger brother, Bing Fan. Since his arrival in this realm, he had exhibited restraint and a burgeoning sense of agency, leading a formidable squad into the dungeon in pursuit of artifacts to seal the demonic tower. The elder, having drained the last drops from his flask, recounted a prophecy he had made for Bing Fan on the night of the recent full moon. His cheeks flushed as he revealed that the prophecy foretold Bing Fan would soon discover an artifact with the power to seal the demonic tower, alleviating their concerns about the impending threat. Post-meeting, the elder retired to his chamber, followed by the receptionist, who inquired whether it was true that Bing Fan would indeed locate the artifact, thereby sealing the tower. The elder prophet, shaking his flask, turned his gaze towards her, a smile gracing his lips. He mused that if this were the case, salvation would finally be within reach. He drew closer, questioning her thoughts on the possibility of the Demon King wandering among them in the city, unbound by the tower's constraints. The girl, startled by his sudden approach, acknowledged the plausibility of such a scenario. What must we do then? She implored. With a playful grin, he remarked that he would handle that matter. The unexpected jest startled her, and amidst her irritation, she chastised him for his foolishness. He resumed his light-hearted tone, asserting that if the Demon King were to escape the confines of the tower, he would lose his blessings, rendering him vulnerable. Eagerly, he explained that there were 2 outcomes: either she remained within the tower, sealed alongside the others, or he would escape, drawing the attention of countless adversaries. Victory was certain, as long as Bing Fan refrained from utilizing the artifact. This was the portent he had foreseen, and he exuberantly declared that Bing Fan, the chosen one from the parallel world, would unearth the coveted object by nightfall. The girl, sensing the urgency of her duties, excused herself, but the elder, observing her retreat, commented on the intriguing nature of young women in his time. As he prepared to return to his solitude, he abruptly halted in the passage, his jovial demeanor evaporating upon encountering an unexpected figure in his chamber. Pointing at Bing Fan, who lounged casually in a chair, he demanded, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" Bing Fan, resting his head in his hands, turned his gaze towards the elder, a broad smile spreading across his face. "I am Bing Fan," he declared, "and I've recently joined the association." The elder prophet, closing the door behind him, acknowledged the gravity of the situation, recognizing Bing Fan as the hidden genius he had heard much about. As he approached the center of the room, Bing Fan rose, a gesture of respect. The elder waved dismissively, urging him to take a seat, suggesting such formalities were unnecessary. Bing Fan, curious, inquired about the elder's reputed ability to predict the future. The elder prophet confirmed this prowess, albeit expressing fatigue. Bing Fan elaborated that this was precisely why he had allied himself with the association, to glean insights into the future. He lingered for a fleeting moment, then resumed his soliloquy with a grin, pondering the fate that awaited the Demon King. The elderly man reclined in his chair, fatigue evident as he shut his eyes, remarking that the youth was treating matters too frivolously. If he possessed the foresight regarding the Demon King's destiny, then surely the beacon of humanity would not be an afterthought, but rather himself. His premonitions, however, only manifested during the full moon, and they necessitated direct contact with the individual whose future he sought to unveil. BK King Fong extended his hand, a sinister smirk adorning his features, inquiring if today happened to be a full moon. The old man, still with eyes closed, retorted with incredulity, questioning whether the youth was genuinely naive or merely feigning ignorance. The crux of the matter was not merely the lunar phase, but rather the imperative for physical touch. Did he truly grasp the gravity of his predicament? Bereft of combat prowess, he could not simply infiltrate the Demon Tower. Did he truly expect to summon the Demon King to his presence? As soon as the words escaped his lips, BK King Fong seized him by the throat, prompting a panicked shout from the old man, who indignantly called him a brat. Struggling against the grip that constricted him, he urged for release, his voice quaking as he sought reassurance that he wasn't, in fact, addressing BK King Fong. He glimpsed the malevolent smile distorting the youth's visage and acknowledged the truth, that he was indeed the Demon King. Focusing intently, the old man activated the grand art of divination. At that very instant, a vision materialized before him, the champion of humanity plunging a blade into the heart of the Demon King, sparks of lightning cascading from the weapon. In the approaching winter, humanity would vanquish the Demon King. At that moment, the Demon King activated his mind-reading ability, his eyes gleaming ominously from the shadows. He hoisted the old man higher, causing his legs to shake and a groan to escape his lips. "Are your predictions accurate?" BK King Fong queried, his gaze piercing. The elder flailed, desperately attempting to extricate himself, confirming the predictions, only to falter and claim that they were flawed. He could compel the old man to reveal whatever his heart wished, a certainty that provided him with an advantage. With glimmering crimson eyes, BK King Fong insisted that the old man prophesy his own future, seeking to discern whether today would mark his end. Dark tendrils of energy coiled around the old man as he cast a fearful glance at the Demon King, stammering an inquiry into the implications of this sudden turn. In a previous life, Lin Fun had perused a novel adorned with a cover illustrating a hero clashing with the Demon King at the base of his tower. It was a rather pedestrian tale of a soul's overpopulation, one in which an individual from one realm traverses into a parallel universe, evolving from societal detritus into a celebrated hero through cunning and mockery of the arrogant. Ultimately, this very misfit triumphed over the Demon King. Lin Fun was the embodiment of such a character, having once slumped at the nadir of existence, only to be whisked away by fate. One fateful day, while engrossed in this narrative en route to his mundane job, he was struck down by a vehicle, life extinguished in a torrent of blood, and archetypal prologue to stories of reincarnation. Indeed, this was a tale of soul transmigration, and he had transitioned into the fabric of the narrative, becoming one of its denizens. He was the second son of the Ling family, the glimmer of hope for humanity, yet Ling Zhou was the true paragon, not he, merely a nondescript little brother, overshadowed by his elder sibling. These were the fragments of memory that clung to him like a shadow. However, the tides of fate were shifting. One day, he approached his father, declaring he had unearthed the whereabouts of a map that hinted at the location of a powerful artifact. He implored for a formidable detachment to aid in its retrieval. Armed with an understanding of the narrative's trajectory and an omniscient perspective, he pinpointed the map's location, marking the object capable of sealing the Demon Tower. Thus, he soon clutched the coveted card in his grasp. Presently, he stood in the grand hall of the Awakened Association's headquarters, leading his team with the conviction that even though his elder brother had perished, the true protagonist had yet to make an entrance. His moment of glory was imminent. He would emerge as the savior of this realm, a bona fide hero. Turning to Ziya, the girl at his side, he declared with enthusiasm that together, they would undoubtedly procure the sealing artifact. In response, she merely chuckled. Lin Fun, shifting his gaze to her, noted her icy demeanor, a beauty seemingly impervious to the world around her. In his previous life, he would have never dared to dream of such intimacy with someone so enchanting, yet now, she was destined to be his daughter-in-law. A chuckle escaped him as he observed the timid Tannen trailing behind, resembling a rabbit perpetually on edge, seeking his protection. He gently rested a hand upon her head, assuring her that all was well within the confines of the headquarters, a sanctuary for them. She smiled back at him, her gratitude spilling forth as she affectionately addressed him as Brother Lin F. After parting ways with her, he clenched his fist in triumph, reveling in the comfortable interactions with such a light-hearted beauty, her thoughts seemingly filled with nothing but whimsical dreams. Indeed, the transmigration of the soul proved to be a formidable advantage. He strolled away from his team, waving them off, asserting that he had matters to attend to and would leave the rest to them. Tenzin, a few paces behind, posed a question about his destination. Lin Fan replied that he intended to consult the Great Prophet, bidding farewell to his comrades once more, all except the nonchalant Leah, who remained detached. As he departed, he mused that if he was to be the hero who sealed the Demon Tower, he was free to follow the whims of his heart. Did he truly have time for romantic entanglements? Meanwhile, his team approached the reception desk, where Leah greeted the association worker, expressing their desire for a discussion. The worker smiled, inquiring about the nature of their request. Leah expressed her wish to recommend someone for association membership. When the worker sought clarification, Leah beckoned Tannen closer, introducing her as someone who had survived a harrowing encounter with the Demon King during a dungeon expedition. Tannen awkwardly acknowledged the worker's greeting, while Leah emphasized that she was the sole survivor of a direct confrontation with the Demon King, advocating for her acceptance into their ranks. The worker, surprised, confirmed the mention of BK King Fong, a figure revered as a hidden genius, and recounted his recent brush with the Demon King, remarking that he had been killed, yet somehow, Tannen had managed to escape. The worker reiterated the name BK King Fong, stating that he had recently joined the association and was alive and well. Alarm surged through Tannen, prompting her to ask what this revelation entailed. The worker clarified that he had indeed been present but had since ventured to the chambers of the Great Prophet. Both Tannen and Leah exchanged anxious glances, their concern palpable as they queried if BK King Fong was truly alive. Meanwhile, the Demon King lingered in the Elder Prophet's chamber, a smile playing on his lips as he tightened his grip on the old man's neck, causing the veins to bulge, his eyes to roll back in despair. With the last remnants of strength, the Elder begged for mercy, extending trembling hands in surrender. The Demon King inquired if the old man had gleaned a glimpse of his future. Desperation seeped from the old man's lips as he implored the great Demon King for clemency, promising to comply with any command, assuring his usefulness. Yet, the Demon King only tightened his grip further, finding the old man's pleas tiresome. He had once idealized humanity, believing them to be courageous and just, but the encounter revealed a more complex truth. Realizing the potential for finding creatures akin to himself among mortals, the unease in his heart began to dissipate. As a token of appreciation for the old man's futile efforts, he resolved to end his life swiftly. The Elder Prophet's horror escalated as he pleaded, but the Demon King paid no heed, squeezing until the old man choked, the sound of a body slumping onto a chair echoing in the room. With that, the Demon King departed, assuming the guise of BK King Fong once more. He contemplated the repercussions of returning to the Demon Tower. If Lin Fan secured the sealing artifact, he would be forever ensnared within its confines. Conversely, should he interfere with Lin Fan's plans, he risked not only failure but also the possibility of death at the hands of this hero. As foretold by prophecy, caught in a quandary, he paused in the hall, acutely aware that leaving the demonic tower had grown perilous, for he had unearthed the prophecy's contents. Perhaps retreating was prudent. There might come a day when he would wield the power to alter fate. He glanced upward, recalling an emergency exit that lay somewhere nearby. Suddenly, a hand settled upon his shoulder. It was Lin Fan, casting a scrutinizing gaze upon BK King Fong, questioning his identity, having never seen him before. In a flash of realization, BK King Fong pivoted, fearing discovery. He donned a slight smile, introducing himself as a newly awakened member of the association, inquiring if Lin Fan required anything. Lin Fan, taken aback by the assertion, pointed at the S badge adorning BK King Fong's chest, incredulous that someone of such rank could exist. A smile graced BK King Fong's lips as he placed a hand on Lin Fan's shoulder, extending an invitation to join his team.